Yeah, I think Trendsetter, a track I wrote, really changed a lot for me. It got synced in America, and to the Beverly Hills 90120 show. So that got, and it also got re-recorded by a German artist who was quite big, Jolina. So that was kind of the turning point where I could, because I was independent, I could make a good deal and sort myself out there. So that was the big. Oh, and also it gave me, gave the confidence to write for, for other people that my songs could be, for other artists as well.
But I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So again, I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Brilliant.
Amazing. So first off, tell me, where were you born and raised?
Originally from a little coastal town in the UK called Great Yarmouth, near Norfolk. So I was born and raised there, to be fair. And just grew up doing music, and eventually made it my goal to move to London to do it more seriously.
Very, very cool. And how did you get into music? Do you come from a musical household or anything like that?
No, not at all. That's the hilarious part. My dad brought home an electric organ one day, as you do, and I started playing about on it and doing private lessons and just learning the grades of classical music and stuff. And from there, just snowballed. And I really was interested in learning how you write that song, that pop song on the radio that I heard as a kid. And so I used to listen to all my mum's records and break them down. And so I kind of turned away a little bit from classical music, although the knowledge was still there, and went into pop music.
Okay.
And started writing lots of songs wherever I could, really.
Yeah. I mean, you've written a ton.
Form of therapy, I think they call it.
Yes. What was the first instrument you learned then? So you started off playing classical music?
Yeah, on the piano, and that's the only instrument I can do, to be honest with you. I tried to pick up a guitar and it didn't work out so well, so I stuck to the piano. And the electric organ, which is a similar thing, but yeah. So it's all keyboard based.
Amazing. And so did you like when did you actually start writing songs? Were you pretty young? Like when that all kind of when you started doing that?
I mean, I think I'm 12, if not before. Just used to write lots of lyrics and stuff down as 8, 9 years old, and then when I got an idea of music and how to put a song together and what a key was and all the rest of it, I started putting proper songs together. Probably age about 12 was my first one.
Okay, around
all
12
years
years
ago.
old. And did you?
Yeah, long time ago.
I mean, that's still really young to do that. And then were you like, at what point were you showing people your music, or when did you kind of start to, replaying out at all, or anything like that?
Yeah, so to school really, and just showing people, music teachers and friends and family, the songs. And I go, oh, these are really good. Especially my family have always been really supportive. I was like, oh, these are really good. So I was like, oh, okay, I might have some of it. And but I knew you had to hone your craft and doing more research of what makes a really good record. I was noticing there were certain writers who were really successful, and I wanted to know why. And I don't know if I've got any answers yet, but still, it's their teaching and looking into how they write songs was fascinating for me, and it kind of helped me as well dig a little deeper, I suppose.
For sure. And then were you like did you go to end up going to school for music, or what was kind
No,
of
I did some A-level music, which is like qualification in the UK, but no, not really. I left school, and then I knew I had to gig. I had to get out there as much as possible and get the songs out there. And so moved to London, did a couple of those crazy jobs as you do to make money, and rented a place in London and gigged wherever I could and got my music out as much as I could.
And you won like a songwriting. You won a songwriting contest when you're really, really young, didn't you? Was it around the same time when you started writing?
Yeah, late teenage, yeah. And that kind of gave me a bit more confidence that I kind of knew what I was doing. Not like I do, but kind of like there might be something there. So yeah, that was a huge thing that for me, confident wise, that
Oh, I
I could,
bet.
move to London and take that risk. Because you get it all the time. You moved from the country to the big city, and you never really know if it's your own wanting to do, or if there's something there. But something like that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, well, maybe there's something here to chase.
Well, yeah, I mean, to win something like that at such a young age, like you said, confidence or like validation that you are kind of on the right path, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was judged for some major industry people. So that was great. That was fantastic. And
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that song. I'm not an angel. Yeah, good song. Came from the heart.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so then you started what to release your own music first? Because I know you've written for a lot of big artists as well, correct?
Yeah. So we put it out and to some labels and stuff. We get some feedback, and it's always a hard road. But at the end of the day, I kind of ended up starting releasing my own stuff, EPs, and actually, I think it was before it all started getting like more cooler to be independent. And so I think I started releasing some songs. Again, got the money together to make the video and sort of PR companies and all the rest of it, and started doing independent artist wise. And then I found as I went on more and more, it's actually a lot more control. It's when you write a song and you can take it to the music video stage, and you can really, because I wrote it and it's from a place in my heart, I know what I want to say. So things like that make it a whole lot easier for an independent artist. So no, yeah, of course, there are some downsides to it as well, but there are some benefits as well.
Yeah, I mean, did you start on a big label
No,
or
no,
no?
never
Or
been signed.
yeah,
No,
it's
no.
always been independent.
Yeah, so I've had conversations, but it's never gone that way. So and I even today I'll never say never, but it'd have to be to be the right kind of deal, and it'd have to be I have to really look at it because you do get a lot of benefits from being independent at the moment, which is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the 90s and even into the early 2000s, it was like at least me growing up in San Diego was like the goal was like, oh, I'm going to get signed. If I get signed to a label, then I'm going to be this massive
That's the
star, right? I
dream.
mean, that was the whole dream. And nowadays, it's like, sure, the labels, especially the majors, have the money to do the PR campaigns and make the videos, but it's always like they're almost like a bank, right? I mean, you're kind of indebted to them if you start using the money to do these things. Like if you're independent, it's all really coming back to you. And when it comes to releases, you don't have to mess
And
around with
it's
oh,
really
can I
strange because
release this
this morning,
song or this or that, the other thing,
yeah,
right?
and it's really strange because today I was actually I tweeted about it because quite a big artist was um, UK morning breakfast talking about how she signed to a label and she's only just now paid. On downside, you really must be careful what you sign as well because that can really affect you in the future. It's like
Right.
a
I mean,
TLC. I've seen that on TikTok. Have you seen that TikTok where they go and they're accepting their Grammys and they were like, "We're broke."
oh
So yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So yeah, you have to be careful what you sign. But there are benefits as well. Being signed as well. So it's a double-edged sword, really.
Right, for sure. I mean, look at Taylor Swift had to re-record like all of her albums because she didn't own any of the masters. So you're streaming and play you get all these songs playing on the radio and you have billions of streams on songs and you're not even seeing any of the money.
I know, right? It's crazy.
It
Joys
is
in the music
wild.
industry, right? Joys.
um, so you put out, a handful of EPs early on. Was there like did you start obviously the validation from that winning the song contest at a very early age? Like what was kind of the progression? Was there like a big milestone that had happened? I mean, doing everything independently, you I'm sure you had to have seen some sort of monetary success or even and maybe not, but I mean, to be able to keep doing it independently, like, was there like a big song or a big moment that you had
Yeah,
that
so
you're
I'm
like,
lucky.
wow?
Yeah, I think Trendsetter, the track I wrote, really changed a lot for me. It got synced in America, and to the Beverly Hills 91020 show. So that got, and it was got re-recorded by a German artist who was quite big, Jolina. So that was kind of the turning point where I could, because I was independent, I could make a good deal and sort myself out there. So that was the big. Oh, and also it gave me, gave me confidence to write for other people that my songs could be, for other artists as well. So that I suppose that was the big key, the big release looking back, and still a fave of mine, trendsetter.
Definitely.
So yeah.
And did that open opportunities once you get the sync and all that? Does that open the door to more of things like that, or like even having the song cut by another artist?
Yeah, it definitely opens more for co-writing for other artists who are published and who aren't. So, and then other producers that I got to meet as well. So yeah, definitely it kind of it was the start, I suppose, major start of all the working together with other artists. And I love working with other artists and producers. There's something very special about getting in the studio. It can go completely wrong sometimes, but when it's right and you're in the moment, it's you learn so much. And yeah, I love it, absolutely love it.
Yeah. And so like I mean, I know you have new music out. I don't want to talk to you about that. Going into I saw your Instagram post. It was from a little while back. You had the #1 song, especially as an unsigned artist, right? With Hero Within You. Tell me about that.
Well, it was a track that I wrote, Hero Within You, just for one of my EPs, and I knew I wanted a classical kind of vibe to it. So I got my friend Hannah, who's an amazing operatic singer, to sing on it. And we released it, and it was very good timing. It was released during the COVID pandemic. And so, it resonated a little bit more. And also donated some of the royalties to the NHS, the UK. So that springboarded it, and I was very fortunate. I went to #1 on the singer-songwriter iTunes chart, which is great. As an unsigned artist, again, it's another I'm going on the right road. That's good. So that's and it's a special track. So yeah, it's nice that people really responded well to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I'm looking at the list of the other people that were on it. I mean, George Ezra was 3, and you beat Dermot Kennedy. I mean, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of support for it, which is fantastic. And they're kind of pincher moments to be like, oh, okay, this is what I've worked hard for. This is why I've done all those jobs to move down and be able to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
no, for sure, for sure. When you said that was put out during the pandemic, how did that affect you as far as like what you were working on, or were you like co-writes maybe you're doing, or like maybe you're on the road?
Yeah, a lot of the live shows obviously got cancelled, and the festivals, which I'm still not completely back to at the moment, but hopefully will be soon. But mainly get in the studio, mainly write. I've got a whole album's worth of material ready to go. So and of course this new EP that's coming out. So it's it's been very productive. It did send me a little bit crazy, but I'm not the only one, I'm sure. But that's what the piano's for. It's a form of therapy for me. So you get out and write all your feelings down, which I've done. But it was tough. It was a tough time, but hopefully you can, take a bit of positivity away with it in a form of a song. New stuff, a lot of new stuff to release, not new stuff to release. It's about when and which ones to release.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like you were actually able to be creative. I've had other conversations with artists with either, okay, I was able to kind of sit down, take a break from touring and really focus on songwriting and putting, music down and getting stuff recorded, or it's, man, I had no inspiration at all. I was just so sick of staring at the same 3-4 walls all day, and I just couldn't get anything out. But it sounds like you were able to.
I joined TikTok as well, which really helped. So I jumped on that bandwagon, which got me through. And that was, it's fascinating. I don't know if you're on TikTok.
I'm honestly not really. I know you have a massive following on TikTok. I have one. I just don't know how to do it, man.
No,
I
I
just
didn't. I
feel,
know it's a new generation. But it kind of musically, it got me to do covers. I did a live stream. It's, it really, it really helped a lot, to be honest with you. So no, social media has been very useful for me in some respect.
yes. With TikTok, was it something you just go on there and start playing piano and or doing cover songs, and then you kind of started to see a gradual build in followers and interaction on there, or like was there a video that you had that like went viral? You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this has happened.
I suppose it started with the covers, and then I started doing my own tracks, and it just started building with the different views, and then I was like, oh, it's a good idea to do. Let's do a live thing on it, and they just keep growing and growing, and the followers kept growing. I think there's a couple of videos that went crazy. I think it's probably me dancing like an idiot, but that's part of the fun. You know what I mean? It's just a great fun platform. But from a musical point of view, you learn a lot as well from seeing other unsigned artists and hearing songs you don't know. I kind of love it. It's kind of, yeah, the algorithms throw crazy stuff at you. It's good.
Yeah, and it's like a true it's almost like a true pool of people to see if they like your songs or not. I mean, because if it lands on that, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just going through on that For You page, and if someone likes it and then they share it, and then it goes in other people's
you get
algorithms, it's like,
comments. Yeah,
yeah, and then it's not like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's changed now, but at the time there was no real gatekeepers on it. It was like you put something up, and if people like it, there it is. But you
yeah,
know,
I think it's similar. I think it's still a bit like that. But I still keep my hand in doing my tracks here and there, and different events I go to. It's up on TikTok, and so it keeps people entertained, I suppose.
yes, definitely. And I want to
You
hear
have to do
about this.
more.
I know you have a new song out, Don't Want to Die, and you also
Yeah.
have an EP coming. Well, tell me, first off, tell me about the latest single, and then I want to hear about kind of how the EP got put together.
So the single "Don't Want to Die" I wrote like probably pre-pandemic, and yeah, I've been wanting to put it out for ages, and I finally got the right kind of feature on it with Ironik, the rapper.
Hmm.
And yeah, the song's just about being addicted to love that you can't get rid of. Um, like all my songs, it comes from a very personal place. So yeah, it's been good, and Ironik did a great feature on it. To be fair,
Yeah.
so it's been good. It's been fun, but yeah, it's one of those tracks that it's very meaningful, and it's part of a collaboration EP that I'm putting out called The Art of Collaboration, which it features different rappers and different soul singers. So yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, so the whole album has collaborations on it. And how did you go about choosing who you're going to work with on the album, or I mean, on the EP, or who would be on what song? Was that a difficult process?
yeah, a little bit. It's obviously as independent, it's very difficult as well. But I've had some obviously when you work with the industry, you kind of get to different people. And I won't put out too much spoilers at the moment because I don't think I've announced anything yet. But
Oh,
there's
okay.
but there's a couple of rappers on there, and there's yeah, there's some great soul singers. Overall, it's been great.
And with that, do you have the song and you can say, "Hey, okay, like this is what it is." Can you add something to it, or were some of the songs written directly with the other artist?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both. So
Okay.
for me, it depends whether the voice suits it or the rapping style or the artist would suit, and then I would approach them and see if they'd be interested. And luckily, they'd work. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
hopefully, enjoy it.
Very, very cool, man. Well, thank you
Thank you.
again so much, John, for
And
doing
then you
this.
get,
Sorry about
and then you
my
get to make it. No, thank you.
my tardiness. Which and I just have one more quick question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
um, get out there, put music out as much as possible. Um, don't be afraid of no. Don't be afraid of um, doing it independently because you can do it your own way. That's one of my songs. But it's true. Get out there and put your music out there and collaborate when you can, and just spread positivity where you can, I suppose.
Bringing it backward.